Okay, so I'll go over it again so that it gets recorded. So what we are trying to do is to test an action in a controller. So one of the more complex methods is in this course registrations create method. Where is that? Right here. Okay, and if you can see, there are two. If you look, if one side. So what I'm doing is creating a test inside. So I call this course registration test, and I'm one of the things I need to do is actually create an instance of the controller. Okay, why am I creating an instance of the controller? How many of you know the answer to that? Why am I creating an instance of the controller? Andrew, why am I doing that? Because the method that I'm calling is in the controller. And what type of method is this? If I need to create an instance of the controller class to call this method, what type of method is it? Does it belong to the class? If it belonged to a class, I wouldn't have to create an instance. It belongs to the object, so that's why I create the object, and then I can call the method. Now, it's actually, so it actually is taking this, when I call this method create method, do I have any parameters here? The answer is no, right? And you have to be a little careful here because there are two create methods, one that doesn't take any parameters, the other that does. Okay. Now, what is this first one doing? What does the first create method do? I go to the views. There's so the first create method, which doesn't take in any parameters, it is creating this drop-down list for the user to make selections for registration. And then when the selections are made, it's sent back to the second version of it, which takes in these parameters here. Okay, so what we are trying to do is to see if we can call this method in the test class. Okay. And for that, we need to pass in values that are in the database to be able to test. So with that in mind, we are getting the student list, the course offering list, and then pulling out one course offering ID and one student ID. So course offering list sub0 dot course offering ID. Okay. Now once I have this, I need to pass in to the create method. I have to pass in a course registration object to create. Okay, so which means what should I do? Before I call this create method, what do I need? Okay, create a new registration object. So I'll have to say course registration, this new course registration, send in the, so this I'll have to send in the course offering ID. Okay, what did I, like right here? Okay. Let's see. And this is okay. So over here I need to send in the course registration object. And assert are equal. Yeah, I basically said that if everything goes through well, I'm going to send an error message which says none. So what I need to see is if I can see that view bag over here. So this should be saying none. Okay. Now the question is, it won't come back as none if this student is already registered for this course. Right? It will generate some error. So what I need to do is check on the database to make sure that whatever test data I'm using is, so go to my database, demo database, results. Yeah, I want the test data, and I'm not sure I've updated that. Okay, let's see. No, I've not updated it at all. So it's.
So we're just need to make sure that there's not a registration. The your course registration.
What's that? Yeah, okay, but the columns have not been. Where's my course here? That I don't have my. I have to go in and update this so that it has the connection to the integer. Okay, student ID 1 is connected to. So I think I have 3 students now. I have 3 students. So instead of the first student, I'm going to take the third student. How do I get the third student here? Okay. I'll change it to index 2. But before I do anything else, I need to update my test database. So I'll save this. Update database. Update dash database. Target 0 and connection string name is test connection. Yes. What's that? Yeah, I don't think I put that in as well. The assert I've just I'm asserting that I'm looking inside this view bag, and it's returning there is no error. Okay, I'll just have to force this. Okay, let's see if this runs now. I'll have to build it. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to do is to see if I get back the viewBag message that I put in, which is if everything is fine, the error message is none. So let's see if I get the test explorer. Not yet finished building. Okay, I have my add course registration test. Okay, it failed. Let's see why it failed. Object reference not set to an instance, line 30. Okay, let's see this. Okay, I'm just going to put some breakpoints here to see if it's going through. So I have the course offering ID and the student ID from the database. So let's see if it creates this object, and then let's see. Okay, so it created the course registration object. Let's see if I continue on. Okay, so I'm inside here with okay, so it has sent in the student ID and the course offering ID. Now the question is it sending this into the next step?
Oh, you have, you need 6 changes. Oh, no, I guess you did that for everything. Never mind. We were waiting until the end.
Let's see.
Did you have enough seats for that course?
For this is the 5th course. Okay, let's see. Course. So it is actually catching some form of exception here. So the database that it's using should be the test database. So let's see if it's, can I get access to the test? It is going to the testing database, but it is obviously generating some error here. So, but even then, it should come back. This is going into there is the okay it's saying. Student is already registered. That's interesting. Okay, so it is coming back with some exception. So it is making it's so if I say if it's not equal, let's see if it's coming back as a. Okay, so the issue is this is actually working. Now the question is figuring out where the problem is. So this logic works. The question is finding there is some missing piece. So maybe, well, what I'll do is I'll just try cleaning up the database again and see if I can. I should have checked to see if what the value was over here. Okay, so let's do course offering ID 1. Let's see, course registrations. Okay, I don't know which student this is, so I'll have to get that student information. Yeah, 9156, so that's interesting. It's interesting, there is no students table here. Okay, because it's now ASP.NET users. Okay, 9156. 9156 are registered. The third is an instructor, and next student I have is 5. Okay. Okay, so let's see if I can do this. R equal Index was out of range. Let me see how many students are there. There are only 3 students? Okay, because there are only, okay, so it does only bring in just the students, so which means 2 is correct. Okay. Okay, so if I continue on now. Okay, view bag, there's so the view bag is not coming back with any result. What would that be?
You have to go past it until it actually loads.
Well, the thing is, it's already gone through, right? Oh, it's not yet created. Okay. Let's see. So it has to go in. Okay, so it does all this here. Tries to add it. Okay. Okay, so it does add. It's still. You don't know for sure. Save changes. Redirect to index. Okay, so at this point there is no. So if everything goes well, I actually have to give the error message here, the view back. Okay, that's why. Okay, so let's put the error message right here rather than here. There is this one. Okay, I'll run this again and see if this time it goes. Okay, student is already registered. Okay. Well, what you have to do though is you have to. So this will obviously keep. We can test it now to see if it. Well, what I can do is let me just. This is something you'll have to. I'll have to clean it out and again keep updating, which is a painful process, but I'll do it just to test it now. It's again saying object reference not test. I should have put a breakpoint here to see what's coming back. The key is I need to be able to get something back which is Okay, let me test it again. Ultimately, I need to get some value in this view bag. If I cannot get the error message, then I cannot have a test. So let's see. Okay, redirect to index, and maybe that's what's resetting it. So it's redirecting here, and maybe it's not being sent in this view. So instead of the view bag coming from this method, it is coming from the index method. So if I continue on, I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to redirect it here, and then, okay, so the view bag is having an empty result. There's nothing in the view bag. What's that? What's that? Well, this. Well, but this method is supposed to return a view, right? Okay, let's see, since it's already registered, I'll see if it can generate this error message. Okay, so it is coming back if there's an error.
So you're not returning the right error. Go back to, okay, that's returning view error message.
Yeah.
And what did you call the one that you loaded?
Well, over here it's redirecting to the index method instead of
returning a view tag.
Yeah, instead of returning this view here. So what would be the solution to that? So if there is a redirection, then there is some, then it's creating this problem there. So we will get every error message, but so if we are going through the index, well, this might be like a temporary fix, but if we are going through the index method, though, as somebody pointed out, I don't know if it came through the index at all. Well, the index itself is now a problem because of this authorize. If I have the authorization set on it, we cannot get to it as a student. So I don't know if that was causing the problem. So let me take away the authorize and check it. Okay, one last time, see if this one, if I set the view bag error to none in the index, whether that's going to return it. So if it's going into the index method, and from the index, it's okay. Okay, so the view bag is not getting returned from here, so what it's returning it in all the other cases. So the redirect to index happens if it's successful. If not, return view course registration. What happens if I just comment this out? Okay, this is one last attempt to see if I don't redirect it, whether I get the view bag returned to me. Okay, so the issue is then redirecting, but does this break our actual application? Well, so we'll have to figure out a way of sending it someplace. So since I asked you to work on the test, so I'll have you. So, but the issue is now, if it is actually doing the ad, and this is the conceptual part. So if you come to your course registration test, there are a couple of ways of doing it. Anytime, so now if I want to get this test to pass, each time what will I have to do? Reset the database. So, and this is one of the things you have to consider with any, like previously all our tests were search tests, right? search tests don't change the underlying data. So what we have to do is, anytime you do a test that changes the data, you have to revert it back to what it was previously. So how do we revert this to the previous data set so that it goes back to whatever it was? Yeah, Mike?
If you create a delete test,
Okay.
will it run them in order that they're created?
Okay, so we have controller dot. The simplest thing would be to say delete whatever, but for that we would have to get course registration dot, is it ID? Course registration ID. So we could try this to use the existing delete. Again, as Mike pointed out, you could try to call this, so you could have it as a sequential sequence of tests, one test to add, one test to delete. So what I'll try to do is see if we can just use this delete to run our test. So I'll just revert it back to what it was. Okay, so now let me run this test. Okay, and the obvious check is if this works, if I run it again, and it's not deleting, so
It's your course registration number got an ID put into it. You'll have to do a lookup and then store that. You have to get the ID back from the database for that course registration.
okay, so we'll have to do another db dot course registrations dot how do we find that? Shouldn't we be able to find it by the ID?
Well, we don't know the ID. You're going to have to look it up by the student and ID and the course registration ID.
That's not always very accurate, because what if the student
We know the student ID because we created a list and
Yeah.
out of the student ID.
and the course ID, so okay, so let's see if we do a
Aware.
using the lambda expression, cr dot let's see, I might have to use I don't have the IntelliSense show offset, so I just do this, cr dot the IntelliSense disappeared. So maybe I couldn't do this. Okay. Okay, so there. Okay, so I have my two conditions. So I want to find the
your course registration object.
but this is going to come back as a list or set of them. So is there a first or default? Okay. We are expecting the first course registration. Okay, so this is okay, let's see if this now works.
See, that's what I was saying that you could do for your assert. You just pull it back from the database and then assert, are those two things equal?
Just get it back from the database.
Store it as a new course registration.
Okay.
Call course registration from DB.
Well, but we want to the actual process that is being used is going through the controller. Right. So if we just add it, is it working? Let's see. Let me test this, and we can then.
Doing the add. We can test the add and see if the add works by pulling that back off the database. The only difference is the one that we hard-coded is not going to have a course ID, and the one that comes back from the database will have the course ID. So that's why you have to do an override method with regard to student ID, and the course offering ID to the course officer. And if those
Okay, the piece that I need to figure out, what we are trying to test is if whatever we are using. So if what Mike is saying is just use the add method alone.
Use the add method to add that information to the database.
Okay.
And then you search the database for the student ID and the course offering ID, and
Yeah.
pull that back from the database. Because if the add fails, those two items won't be in the database.
Well, okay.
Course registration, and then it's a new course registration. We'll call it course registration from DB, so that we know.
Well, the issue is we are trying to. This particular object that we have created, we are saying we want to add it to the database. So if we are adding it to the database, you could have, there's a built-in method called course registrations.add, and you could just give course registration.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is we created one.
Yeah.
We used the controller to add it.
Yeah.
Now just grab that line back. You don't need the controller for that. Create a new object, a new instance of course registration, call it from database, and then compare the course registration we created, hard-coded here, course registration,
Okay.
and compare that to course registration.
So you're saying let's not even look at the result here.
Right. Just go back to the database, find that row. The only thing that will be different is the one we created did not have an ID. The one that comes back from the database will have an ID, so the assert will fail there. But if you do an override method and tell it, hey, if the student ID and the course ID match in both of these objects, then it's the same object.
Okay, we can do that. This gives the additional information that because we are doing the set of checks, what fails, what reason it fails for. So it is there. We are getting this back here. The question is, you have to try using breakpoints to see whether the delete operation is working or not, just like we spent the entire class doing. So the issue is basically the basic concept is whenever there's a data change to reverse it back on the test database. So I'll have you experiment with that. So see if you can get this. So each time it has to keep cleaning it up so it keeps running in green. And the same concept you have to apply it to your project. Okay, so whichever the create and so on that you are having on your project, that you find a way to have it in the test. So my main objective today was to have you work on tests for your project. So I believe I have access to each of the group projects. I've been looking at most of them. So on Monday, please have it updated to have the tests on Monday, so that Monday evening, let's say I'll start looking at it around 7 p.m. I'll go over all the 10 projects starting at 7 p.m. on Monday. So if you could incorporate the tests in there. And just for also understanding, please start including this in your student registration project, which is your individual project. Okay, I'll stop now. And if you have any questions,